These are not emblematic of a man who just had one bad night. And you've laid out, I know quite articulately, why Democrats feel the stakes are so high in this election. And if they are so high, why are you okay taking a chance, a risk, whatever you want to call it, on a man in the president who, however well-intentioned, clearly is on the decline cognitively?
You know, it's interesting. We just had a hearing last week in the Judiciary Committee, and Congressman Hank Johnson put together a series of clips of Donald Trump making misstatements on gaffes and incorrect statements. I mean, I think we can do that for people. You know, if you speak enough in public, you can put those things together. And I don't know that really whether Trump has more gaffes or Biden has more gaffes is going to determine the election. At the end of the day, I think what we need to do is focus back on his accomplishments, which are significant. As I've said before, I think he is probably the most consequential president since LBJ. Certainly the legislative production backs that up. And then he's got to talk about the vision going forward and what needs to be done. With respect to the economy, I think in particular, the United States is the envy of the Western world right now, but we've got to make sure that people who aren't, beyond the macro level understand that there are benefits for their personal pocketbooks as well. So
yeah, Congressman,
I think it needs
hear
to go.
you in terms of gaffes versus gaffes. I think we can all agree that at the debate, it was clear one person was far more confused in moments than the other. Don't ask me, ask the voters. Just in the past 10 days, because of the polls, Arizona, from a toss-up to lean red. That's a Cook Political Report, about as nonpartisan you get. Georgia, toss-up to lean red. Minnesota, likely Democrat to lean Democrat. New Hampshire, likely Democrat to lean Democrat. Nevada, toss-up to lean red. This is not good, and I've yet to hear a Democrat articulate how President Biden can personally turn around, because the facts on the ground haven't changed, which changes people's view of him. How can he turn that around when he can do one event a day, and normally they've got to wrap up by 5 p.m.?
Actually, I think you just heard from Geraldo how he can turn it around. I think the key thing is to get beyond the debate about the debate and get back to the focus on the issues the American public cares about, mostly the economy, but also
I'll give you the last word. I'll give you the
rights.
last word, sir. But the American people care deeply about whether the President of the United States at 3 a.m. can answer the call and make a coherent decision and not be like the guy we saw at the debate who couldn't figure out whether he ended Medicaid or ended COVID.
As you pointed out a moment ago, his polling has dropped, but only by a couple of percentage points. I mean, judging by the media, you'd think he'd fallen entirely through the floor and was like 20 or 30 behind Trump in all of these battleground states, and he's not. He's within the margin of error for most of the states, and my recollection is he's ahead in Michigan. So we're a few points down, and it's definitely within striking distance. This is a winnable race. And I think once we get past all of this, because this can only go around and around so much unless there's some other big problem that pops up, sooner or later we're going to have to be able to get back to the debate on the issues and also a focus on President Trump and the many crazy things that he said, not just over the years, but at the debate. I mean, it was one lie after another, especially with respect to abortion and some of the key issues. If we can get back to those pieces, I think we're going to be fine.
Fair enough. Congressman Ivey, I always appreciate you coming on, a robust conversation. As we noted during the break, there's a number of your colleagues who are running away. One wore headphones as they ran away from the press, something you won't do, and that's worth applauding, and your constituents and the country are better for it, sir. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.